And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your
We are last Americans. We are last Americans. We are last
Yo,
Americans.
yo. I hope this is streaming. I can't really see anything going on here. Okay, yeah, I think it's good. We're good.
All right, man.
What is going on, dude?
Not much, man. Not much.
Yeah?
Just hanging out, dude. My brother's in town, so we've just been out and about, soaking it all in.
Soaking it up? How's he liking it?
Up, dude.
How's he liking the Houston vibe?
It's been good, man. We've had a good time, dude. We went down and went and do some rides in Kemah, did some boardwalk stuff, went to the zoo yesterday. Like, just hanging out with the kids, just chilling, getting stuff done around the house.
I get
It's
you.
been kind of fun, man. Yeah, dude.
Right on, dude. Yeah, because how's the weather? Is it like super muggy right now, or is it more just chill?
Nah. Yeah, so Saturday was a little muggy. It was like 80 degrees, a little bit muggy.
Yeah.
Today was cloudy, 70s, not bad at all. So it hasn't been too bad.
All right,
So
man.
he's got the better, as far as our family coming, he's got the best timing so far because it hasn't been dire. You know what I mean?
Dude, like when I came there, like it was just like pissing the entire time. I was like, why'd I leave Washington?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I wanted some fucking sunshine. I brought my shorts. I was going to like tan my balls. I was going to just show it all off, baby.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good. Me and him got matching tattoos. Can you believe that?
Did you?
Yeah, we just went and got some little tattoos.
Can you
little
show
bonding. I don't know if you can see it. Actually, you're probably not going to be able to see it.
Yeah, it's not showing up because of the Zoom. All I see is like some Hispanics looking over the border.
Yeah, dude. We got cowboy frogs. Okay.
Cowboy frogs?
Yeah, dude. Little frog with cowboy hats. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, very random. Very random. My kids love frogs. And we have I had this AI song that I made like maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Because we have frogs everywhere, right? And so the kids name the frogs, and Bob the Frog is like our frog that we have in the backyard.
Damn.
So so I made a Bob the Frog song, and my youngest like sings it all the time. And so I was like, she loves frogs. She pointed it out like Bob the Frog, and I was like, there it is, man. I gotta get Bob the Frog. Western.
Fucking, you're kecking it out, bro. Keck the frog.
Yeah.
That's that's MAGA right there.
It's it's just little tiny. It's just it's only like 2 inches at most. It's not very big. But.
Yeah. No, I get you. That's cool though.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Do you guys like when you guys
8
shake
years.
hands now? Do you put the tattoos together like you join as one?
Well, his is on his leg. Mine's on my arm. So
okay,
it's
so that'd be weird.
I mean, I can act like I'm putting my I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, dude, hey, it's just so you guys know, Chris obviously is not here tonight. It's unfortunate. He had some dental work done today.
Yeah.
He's pretty out of it. So
you know what? I call bullshit. I call Chris a pussy. Okay, Chris? If you're listening, you pussy. Because I came on this show after I got my tooth extracted, and there was nothing stopping me from showing up.
Dude, he had a pretty extensive surgery.
I know. I'm kidding. It wasn't just one tooth.
I know you're joking. I know. He had a pretty extensive surgery going on. But earlier he was like, I'll let you guys know. And in my head, I was like, there ain't no way he's going to be making it tonight. So
dude, he's going to, we'll leave it as a surprise, but he's going to look like a brand new man. Okay. That's all I'm going to say.
He's going to look like a new man.
He's going to look like a new man.
Mr. Hollywood, bro. He's not going to be holy man. He's going to be Hollywood man. You know what I'm saying?
And he might have a lisp. I want to hear what he sounds like. Because you know how like when you hear Trump on the phone, like it sounds like, I got a lisp.
A little bit.
You know what I mean? There's some weird activity that happens.
Speaking of Trump, I know what you wanted to get into today. Obviously, you see the border wall behind me.
Yeah.
But he made some picks today, my friend. He made some what is it? One the other day. They talked about that one. The gal, I can't think of her name. You'll have to forgive me. I'm on my phone, so I don't have the access.
Can you see this? Because I got this list pulled up here.
There you go.
So he's got. Let's make this big.
Stefanik. How do you say her name? Stefanik. How do you say that?
Elise Stefanik for ambassador to the UN. Susie Wiles is chief of staff. So she's been like the chief of staff for a while, right? Like she's worked on his campaign.
No. Well, for the campaign, she's been like the main campaign advisor or something, but she also has a long history in Florida politics.
Yeah.
But this is the first ever
Look at that medallion.
chief
What
of
is that?
staff.
Is that a
Yeah,
sun?
I'd have to look, man. I can't. I mean, it's
weird-
pretty minimal on my screen here.
Okay. And then we got, this is Elise Stefanik. And
Good choice. That's a good choice. I
This
think.
guy who we named the episode after, Tom Homan.
Yep.
We'll get into him.
Yep.
And then Stephen Miller, deputy chief of staff. So, like, Stephen Miller, I think, was around in like towards the end of his last campaign.
I remember him a little bit. Yeah.
Right. And I think that there's some of that the Q stuff tied up with this guy. I haven't like done a lot of research into that whole conspiracy thing, but there's something with Stephen Miller.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I vaguely remember him from previous stuff, but
Yeah.
he's the one I
Look
yeah,
at
I
those
don't really,
sultry eyes, though. I mean, don't you just like get a boner when you look at this man?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's getting. Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, you know, he's a prowling kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? He's out there like prowling for the the tank. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what it looks like. You know.
Yeah.
I don't really care much about him though. I don't think many people know him or really care that much about that. I do like the Stefanik pick. I'm going to say her name wrong. I apologize.
Yeah. What do you like about her?
Dude, just watching her speak. I think she's been solid for the past couple of years. I think she's a well-spoken person. I think she's been an avid, Trump supporter. So he's trying to build a coalition, I think, with people that are supporting the agenda. Unlike the last time, right? I think the argument for his first term was he brought a bunch of people in that maybe kind of fought back against the agenda or tried to sway him into other directions.
Well, yeah,
I feel like
proven,
this time,
dude. Condoleezza Rice wrote a book about, you know what I mean? Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. So no, she seems cool. I don't know as much about her, but I like the idea for. And here's the thing: is like the idea that he hates women. He's picked half of his people so far as women. One of them being the first ever.
I thought he loved women, dude. He loves grabbing that pussy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, this is pussy he can't grab, but
that's
I
true.
think he's. You know what I'm saying? I think it's good. I think it's good so far. But I want to talk about the border czar, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say from his picks, and I know he picked another one. Gosh, dang it! Like right off the top of my head, I forget what his name is. But all I got to say is there's a lot of APEC money coming in. I don't know what that means. I don't think that there's a lot of loyalty to Israel, but it's all through their actions. So we'll see what they do. Okay, that's just my only speculation on this whole thing. Is there's a lot of APEC money flowing around. So I'm like, I'm keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Fair.
But it's all in their actions, though. But this guy, this Tom Homan, I have this article here. So he's basically saying, we're coming. And he's very, very tough on the border. He was interviewed in front of the House, I think, something committee. But he was talking about, like, working with local cops and bringing, identifying migrants and bringing them in. But if the police are barred from helping the feds identify suspects, quote, then we'll wait till they get out of jail. Then they'll go out into the neighborhoods and get them. And he says right here, if they're not willing to do it, then get out of the way. We're coming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know the history of this guy, but from the videos, he sounds serious.
He was the one that was speaking to Congress about the border crisis. I don't remember how long ago it was. Probably a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude's intense, man.
He is.
He's very intense. And I actually think that he is a true border czar.
You
if you want
so?
my honest opinion. Yeah, I think he will be. Absolutely.
Yeah. I do too.
No bullshit. There's no bullshit with this guy.
Yeah. Well, he was the one who kind of put AOC, like, he made her fumble a little bit. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So here was a clip of him talking to Miss Ocasio-Cortez, and she's saying something about, like, the separating of the families and all this stuff, and, blah, 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 blah. So check this out.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their...
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
Boom.
The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, the
Okay. She just basically has nowhere to go. Like she stumbles through some paperwork. She's like, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's what everybody's saying. I'm not just saying him. That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
If you do the process the proper way, no one really has the issue. If you're doing what you're allowed to do, we're cool. But the people she's talking about are not asylum seekers.
Yeah, dude. Well, and that's the whole like you have to have a process, right? Like,
yeah,
you have to have a way to get in the country legally, because if you don't, I mean, there's a lot of welfare programs, dude, that,
yeah,
you know, if you're a legal immigrant, you can sign up for and you can get money. And it's just like, you're not paying into the system, at least. Yeah. I mean, you know, come on. So
he was also on an interview. I don't know if you have the clip, probably not, but he was on an interview where they were talking about, which I did the math on it, but they were saying it was going to cost some like $88 billion to deport 1 million illegals.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying, do you find that, to like something that we could actually do? Like, you really think we're going to spend that money? And he's like, how much do you value border security?
Yeah.
Which is true, right? Do you value it? Because you have to put money into it. But I actually looked at it. That's $88,000 a person. How much does it cost to round up a person and deport them? $88,000?
That's a lot, dude.
I would argue, like, that's one person's, let's say, high-end salary, right?
Yeah.
To get one guy in a day and then put him on a bus, give him a plane. Like, how does that $88,000, man?
I know.
Like,
what? Like, that's high end.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess, like, you got to pay some people's salaries and stuff. But I think this is the clip you're talking about. It's from 60 Minutes. Because this is one, and he was like saying, like, yeah, we can deport families together, you know, and all this stuff.
Well,
but,
that's what she said. Like, how do we, he's like, I think we should deport them together.
Exactly.
It's great.
Yeah. So here's one.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
Fuck you, bitch.
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Yeah, so that's that's the main like clip that's going around, making him like look like a quote asshole. But I'm like, he's right, you know,
dude. Listen, man, we got to stop being soft. Okay, when you're asking, listen, there's the same with the sergeants and the military. Listen, I'm not good with all the names and shit, but like, you don't want a bunch of pussies out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you have a guy who's out killing people, right? His job is to defend his army, kill the opposing army. You want a guy with no bullshit. And quite honestly, we've talked about the border. It's a huge problem, and it's going to take a really serious person who's actually tough to actually take care of this problem, because it's not going to be pretty.
Yes, and this is what I want to talk to you about, because like,
yeah,
it is not going to be pretty. And we kind of talked about this several months ago and saying, like, if he does get reelected and he does go through with this biggest deportation program ever, how is that going to be spun in the media? How is he going to get through that to make it look like, hey, we're doing the right thing? You know?
I don't think it matters. Just to be flat out, I think that people that are going to be loud about it are the people that already don't like him. They're going to find an excuse to kind of give another dish onto Trump. You know what I'm saying? But it's a vast majority of Americans that support a deportation policy. We all know what it's going to be. We know that people are going to be, picked up. It has to be done properly. It has to be done safely.
But they're going to pay somebody, a lot of money, hey, let's get the kids on camera, start crying. Let's take them away from the mom. Let's get that all on film. And then we'll, just like they did down at the border. Remember with all like the Disney clothes, the new Disney clothes.
Well, that, and like, if you remember way back in the day, what was that kid from Florida, right? The Elion or, Elon.
Yeah. He was from Puerto Rico. Dominican Republic, something. I can't remember where, but that was a big thing. Remember, if you remember, there's the video of them getting into the house that, they were pulling away from there was that famous shot of the guys with the guns. Yep.
Pulling him from the father. Like, listen, that was sad because we weren't having the same issues. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, what is this shit? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have an issue. And I think that's one of the reasons Trump is in office or will be in office is because we have a major issue at the border. And we know it's not going to be pretty. It's not always going to be the best. But at the same time, it's what has to get done. I don't know what else to say. It has to happen.
Well, and like everything stems from this, like the border, right? You have weapons, you have humans, you have drugs.
Fentanyl. Yep.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, the border is one of those things. It's not going to solve everything, but it's going to solve a lot. You know what I mean? Like, how much drugs come from just crossing the border?
Yeah.
I would say a lot, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. And so, again, to what he said, like, how much do you value border security? I don't think anybody, listen, I used to watch Cops a lot. I know everybody watched Cops at one point. It's not around anymore, unfortunately, but there's a lot of times that even somebody that's a criminal, it's sad to see them, like the kids are crying or there's a situation where there's kids around and they're sobbing and you feel bad about that. You're like, Jesus, man, like, how could this guy do this with his kids there? Like, are the cops being too mean around the kids? Mm-hmm. Usually, most of the time, they're very respectful with the kids, you know, but
yeah,
no one wants to see that.
But they do that to tug at, like, women specifically. Yeah. They do that to tug at women's heartstrings because they know that women are going to vote emotional. I'm not saying, like, not all women, okay? Don't get on me, women. But, like, for the most part, who didn't support Trump back in 2020? There was a lot of women who didn't support him, right?
Yeah.
And in 2016, because of the whole misogyny thing, grab by the pussy, all that stuff, like, whatever, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I can see where they're coming from.
He's got more women vote. I mean, I think he got a lot of, especially like with the white women, you know, he got a fair amount. Listen, I think if he does his job, despite of the imagery, I think most people at this point are willing to understand that they're going to go after Trump for anything, right? So when they air this kind of shit, you're going to have a lot of these people that voted for Trump saying, "Hey, is that even accurate? Right? Is this fake? Is this like a setup kind of thing?" And you're going to have people question it, and you're going to have other people that are just like, "Listen, I hate this. I hate it, but we have to do it."
Oh, you know that's coming, dude. You know that's coming. Yeah. There's going to be a psyop. Let's just call it out. There's going to be, like, in the middle of this deportation activity, there's going to be what is conceived in the mass public as a child being ripped away from a mother or something like this. You're going to have some violence maybe, but it's going to be questionable. And you're going to be like, what? There's going to be a lot of questionable things. Like, if you have an open mind, you're going like, well, why would they do this? Sure. You know, if you question the mainstream narrative. And I can just already see it happening. And that's just one little news story that they can take to cause strife between left and right. That's what they always do, dude.
Yeah, but the thing is I really at this point think that people have their mind. I've been saying this. I think people have their minds made up. They're either supporting Trump or they're not supporting Trump. I feel like very few people were like, I don't know. I'm not like,
no, I agree. Right? But this is how you keep them busy, though. You keep them busy with these little tiny stories where you go, well, this is my opinion on this story because fuck, you know what I mean?
Well, we have to see results. And I think that's what's going to now. So if the deportation happens and it's rolling, and let's say that starts soon, let's just say hypothetically that starts in the first year, right? Mm-hmm. If at year 3, we're not seeing the economy improve and we're not seeing this working very well, that's going to be detrimental to Trump. Yeah. What he needs to do this and also improve the economy right away. Because as soon as the economy's good and gas is cheaper around the country, food is cheaper, jobs are getting, plentiful. This kind of shit, they're going to be like, yeah. But dude, my fucking eggs are cheap. Right. I'm telling you that's if he can do what he says, then this is not going to be a big deal at all.
Well, and then I agree, because you're essentially buying the vote at that point. You're going like, dude, I'm going to vote with my pocketbook because fuck, like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of voters do go down to like what benefits me, right?
They should. They're representing us.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, if this goes both ways though, because there's people on welfare and they vote for the pro welfare candidate. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. I don't count them. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like, I agree with you. No, I agree with you. Because they vote, obviously, to keep money coming.
For sure. Incentives matter, right?
Yeah,
But I was just actually,
think that,
dude, I was talking
Go
with
ahead.
my dad today about this, and I was like, how long do you think it's going to take for like gas to go down and all this stuff?
yeah,
And I don't know if Trump has any like works or stuff in the works like on the side, because like he wasn't president, for 4 years. So couldn't he like get stuff rolling on the side and be like, hey, like you with your drilling machine, like let's set up a process order. I'll pay for this. When I get in, you start day one because I need this shit flowing. I need oil. We got to, set this up. We got to drop the prices fast. People have to see this turnaround.
Listen, I think I don't know that he has to get a head start on it per se. I think he should be at this point having won the election. I think he should be doing that. I think he should be, talking to people saying, listen, my goal is that, within 2 weeks of being in the office that we're already starting X, Y, and Z. And we know, just like with hurricane relief or anything else, these people are ready to go. These guys that were building the pipeline, these guys that were working this stuff are ready for this stuff. They are ready to go.
Yeah.
So when he picks up the phone, he says, I'm ready. They're moving. You know what I'm saying? So if he wants this to be quick, he can make this very, very quick. Now, we're already seeing, to what extent, I don't know, but we have seen some situations, at least some murmurs, that, Zelensky's already been talked to, that, that Hamas has come out and kind of, Iran has come out and said like shit, because they're losing value.
Yeah.
And they know, and we've said this, they know Trump's not going to be Kamala. They know he's not going to be Biden. There is a good chance that just based off of who he is, that he can get a lot of this stuff taken care of pretty quickly, like you said.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, I think that there's some backdoor deals going on, like not like some weird evil shit.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, before he left, he must have done something with these groups. I don't know about Hamas. That's, he actually went and talked to Hamas. So I don't know what the hell they said. But, like, I don't know if, like, the fear thing is a big deal. I think it's more incentivizing. He seems more like, not like the fire and fury type of guy, like, threaten you. He said, he seems more of like, hey, we can make this a better economy for you, like a compromise. Like,
sure.
Let's make the deal, like the art of the deal. It would be, instead of me going and bombing your ass, it would be like, hey, why don't you do this? And then we can support you here and you guys will flourish. You'll have a better economy.
Yeah.
People will love you.
Yeah, I want to be clear that I don't, when I say they fear him, I'm not necessarily talking about Trump just being like a loose cannon. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like when your dad walks in, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that you fear your father. It's that you know that, like, okay, the fuck around has to stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't pull that same shit on dad. So by fear, I'm just saying, I think they had a lot of leash when Biden was in office. They knew that there wasn't going to be a major war, that America wasn't going to get, they're weak. I would say we were fairly weak. We had our own issues going on. So I think when you see Russia, Hamas, like what happened with Israel and all that shit, I think that was them testing the waters and also knowing there's no ramifications. And I don't think that's going to be the same with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I think they know that. And I think that's why, I mean, did you hear about the Zelensky thing? I think that might be fake. I feel like it's fake.
So
did you hear about the Elon Musk? So there were some like murmurs. It could have been rumors, and I'm sure it probably was bullshit. Yeah, please do actually look it up. Apparently, like Trump was going to try to call Zelensky with Elon Musk. I don't know if you heard about that.
Really?
Is that real or is that fake?
Oh boy, I'm not.
Because I felt like it was fake.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about this. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So, either way, let's just, I'll ignore it just for the fact that.
Yeah, November 8th, Elon Musk joined Trump's call with Ukraine's President Zelensky. This is Axios reporting that. So. Okay, so let's say it's semi-legit. What they supposedly had said, again, without verifying, and forgive me for not having more info on me, but what I was to read and understand is that Elon was on the phone call and Trump basically told Zelensky, this war is over. Prepare for negotiation. We will have no more money. We will have no more Starlink if you continue, because they use Starlink in the war. So with Elon, he was saying, I will not provide Starlink anymore. Trump said he will not be providing aid anymore, and Zelensky needs to be prepared for negotiation. Yeah. So this is Zelensky right now. This is what he looks like. because it's been about 5 minutes since he hasn't asked for $1 billion in aid. So he's stressing out, bro.
Yeah.
He's got that strained vein, you know?
Yeah, but that's how it's going to have to happen. Like, in order for this to stop, it has to be both sides, right? Like, he needs to come to the negotiation table. Russia has to be willing to go, which per reports, Putin did get a hold of Trump, congratulating him on the victory, and did say that he's ready to have talks and have some discussions. So if that's the case, could we see this end? I think why is this still going? First of all, what ground are we gaining here? You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the whole thing. Like, if we had some clarity on where all this money was going, that would be really nice. And I feel like for a while there, when you had like the embassy talks, like the UN, like they had like these meetings, and then they had like a rotary of, not a rotary, but rotating leading position, I guess. And the Russians would always, when they got up there, they'd be like, there's biolabs we have over here, and they prick us with the mosquitoes, and they give us the crumb, It's not good at all, David.
Yes.
But they would get up
Good
there
voice.
and they would have like all these accusations and stuff. They'd have like these diagrams of like how the money's going from the military industrial complex to the politicians to the big pharma. And then this is like big circle, right? So I would like to see some investigation into that, because if they're telling the truth, and if like Ukraine is this cesspool, shouldn't that be exposed at some point?
Yes. Yeah. So maybe that's listen, I think most people understand. Well, most people forgot, but Ukraine has been talked about for many years as being one of the most corrupt countries in the world, right?
Yeah.
Since the war and everybody posting the Ukrainian flags, I think that's been kind of like, how dare you speak of Ukraine? Like they've been bad for a long time.
But
not
see,
saying
like
Russia's good.
Like we've been trained, not we, but like the Americans have been trained to never question Ukraine. They're the good guys. Russia bad. Don't ever question what's going on there. And like they can take that same setup and apply it to whoever they want to. You know what I mean? They did the same thing with Trump. They're doing the same thing with Israel. I'm just saying, dude, like they can map out how they want you to perceive a specific nation or a specific group of people, however they choose so.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't really put the two. I know you're much more critical of Israel than I am. I get that, and I understand why. Israel's been a long time thing, dude. Like Ukraine, what's weird to me is that Ukraine is not.
I'm skeptical of like the support and what are we supposed to do with Israel? That's my whole thing. Like, because I know there's a lot, and the only reason why is because I know there's a religious faction there, and I don't know how much impact that has. I hope it's not. I hope it's not a lot, but I know that that's a definite possibility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The most of people though don't think that that's going on, so it's not like a mainstream topic.
That's a fringe topic. Yeah, I mean, which is fine, dude. It's not. That doesn't mean that we can't have the discussion. You know what I'm saying? Because quite honestly, even myself, like I don't know enough, and quite honestly, it's not something that like interests me that much. To be fair, like I don't. Well, I mean, myself looking into it.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it's like a fringe topic because the majority of evangelicals who vote for Trump, believe in biblical prophecy, right? They believe in Israel is part of this end times thing. I'm not saying like that's the whole reason why they're voting for Trump, but it's there.
I don't think so.
It's a little tiny speck that's there, and I don't want it to fester.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't know, man. I feel like that's more than the average person. I feel like that's actually a very small number. Like I have very religious people in my family who support Trump, who support Israel as a whole. But it's not because of. It's not like this overt like religious aspect. It's just I mean, it is, but I don't think it's like because of end of times and all this other shit. They're just like Israel is our beacon in this hellhole. I mean, basically, for lack of better words. Yeah. And like, so the lady I work with, actually, she's a great lady. I think she's a little older than me. I think she's like 45, but she actually came here from Israel. And so I work with her every night. She lived in Israel her whole life. Her husband is from the United States, and he actually lived in Israel with her for years, and they decided to move to the Houston area. And I always ask her things. I'm not going to go into details on stuff, but I ask her about Palestine and what's life like. It's very much like ours. Like obviously there's a military presence, but like as far as like just the cultural, she's like, we have all the same shit. Like it's very, I don't want to say it's westernized, but it is. And so to me, I understand why we want to protect that kind of a thing in an area where that doesn't exist. Because Iran used to be that way. And look what happened to Iran. You know what I mean? So I think they don't want to lose Israel turning into an Iran. You know what I'm saying? Where it gets the wrong leadership and now you got a coalition. The entire thing is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just keeping my eye out, dude. Like, I'm not saying if, ands, or buts because it's all in the actions of these people. So if they're doing some things that are against our Constitution, I'm going to speak about it. I'm going to be like, hey,
no, and you should. Yeah, you should. You should.
And so, but like, nonetheless, this entire conversation is about exposing the truth. And I feel like that has gained a large portion of like Trump followers, this whole conspiracy followers, right? Like there's a large portion of the conspiracy movement that follows Trump because they think that he's going to expose a lot of truths. And a large part of that is like JFK files, 9/11, maybe, who knows? But like, there's going to be things where he might expose to a point where it might open the door for other things. Having RFK Jr. come in and you have the health secrets maybe be exposed a little bit. Not all of them, but Big Pharma, I don't know.
Man, I'm just being honest, dude. Like, that's not going to happen. It's not going to fucking happen. I think it's a conspiracy to think that Trump is the conspiracy guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that in itself is weird. I think what you're going to see is the RFK shit may get released. I think he said he would want to release it, which he said before. So we'll see if that's actually the case.
JFK, you mean? Like the assassination?
JFK. I'm sorry, I said RFK, but JFK, the assassination. I think that could be released.
Well, what's interesting about that? So over the weekend, and we talked about this on the Zoom party, everybody, that's on Patreon only. If you're not on Patreon, get on Patreon because those Zoom parties are freaking off the hook. But we do those once a month, and then every week we have a call-in show, so get on there. But we had a discussion about this website that the Trump administration set up where you could go in and type in who not to bring into the cabinet, right? And so I guess a lot of people were saying, don't bring Pompeo, no Pompeo. And then all of a sudden, Pompeo's off the list. He's not brought into the cabinet. And during Trump's podcast on Joe Rogan, right? He said that Pompeo was the main reason why the JFK files weren't released. He said that Pompeo came to him and was like, that's not a good idea there, Mr. President. We shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
So he kind of called him out.
Yeah, I don't think Pompeo's a great guy. Here's the thing. I think, listen, the one thing I will say about Trump, and it's probably to a fault, to be completely honest with you, but I think Trump does, like, despite everybody thinking that he's this rogue businessman who doesn't listen to shit and he's got his mind made up, I actually do think Trump listens, and I think sometimes he listens too much. And so he gets around people that either he was told were good or that he could trust, and he listens. You know what I'm saying? I do think Trump does actually listen. But that's not a bad thing, man. I think like even Rogan, going on Joe Rogan, I would love to hear the audio of them before the show or after the show. Yeah,
just bullshitting.
Well, just because, listen, I think he would listen to a Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of Mike Pompeo? Do you think and if Joe's like, man, that guy's a piece of shit, bro. I actually think that Trump wants to know that shit. You know what I'm saying? I think he does. And so, like, there's many reasons why I think Pompeo is probably, because he's talked nicely about Pompeo. For him to not add him says something. Somebody told him something, in my opinion.
And I guess Pompeo was like perplexed because he's like, we just had a meeting last week, so I don't know what's going on. But there was something else. So Ban brought up Kash Patel because I saw that Kash Patel was being floated out there as CIA director, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. I'm like, I didn't know he had that much experience. But hey, if so, Danielson's saying that Kash is saying on day one, this is always a day one promise, as CIA director, he will release 9/11, JFK, and J6 on day one. That's a lot to expose in one day, bro. That's like
It's a lot.
it's an
Yeah, that's
overload.
I would imagine some advisor to him, if that was actually true at all, would probably tell him like, hey man, I'm on board, but we got to do this the right way. You know what I'm saying? And the right way would be people need to know, and they're not going to know by you dumping everything at one time. So let's talk about the assassination. Let's get that out for a couple weeks. Let's move to 9/11. Let's get that out for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? Like,
I would say yes. I would say in the old world, yes. But in the digital age where everybody is reading, I mean, you have so many people that have nothing to do. Literally, their job is to sit there and read documents and make videos.
Yeah, I don't care about them. I'm not being mean. I don't give a shit about them. The
but
problem
that's the
is
news, dude. Like that's a lot.
I
Like
know,
on X, like
I know,
that's a
but
lot.
listen,
info.
You're talking about major information, and the average person, which is most people. I'm not talking about people that like to look at this more as a hobby, even outside of just getting the basic news. That's too much information. If you're talking like heavily, and you got guys having podcasts about the assassination on Kennedy, and people are like really interested, they're not going to be following that same topic, which is 9/11.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too much for them to take. That's a lot of. That's not just like basic shit. That's very.
I guess I would leave it. Even it up to, and it's not even that close to being even, but I would liken it to, who was it? It was a nothing burger. The something report, Durham. Remember Durham?
Yeah.
But who was the other guy that came out right before that, and he had his own report?
Burr.
Barr. Dude, I don't know. It was somebody else. It wasn't Barr.
Bill Barr. It wasn't Bill Barr's thing?
No, but anyway, it was like this report that came out, and it was a huge report, and people were chunking it up into segments so people can digest it, and they were doing interesting segments on specific parts of the document. And that's what I could see happening, because when you have something that massive, just dump it. People can chop it up and segment it into the interesting segments and point to the document as their evidence and say, look, it says it right here, and link the story together for everybody. You know what I mean? I think that's way more digestible than just having the mainstream news roll it out.
No, I don't care about the mainstream news. I care about these people digesting it. The problem is to me, it's like playing all your jokers on one hand. It's dumb. You're using everything. Listen, we know that, especially with Trump in the office, we know that the news cycle is going to be rapid fire. Like, they're going to be able to change the narrative very, very quickly if they want to. They will. And so if you put out like Kennedy assassination, right? Let people digest that. Let these podcasts and let these people break this stuff down and get people to understand the real details. Then when the news tries to change the topic, and you know it will, right? You know it's going to fall off a little bit. Hit them with 9/11, bro. The news is I'm just saying, put the news on their heels. If you dump the whole you hit 3 home runs in one inning, great. That's awesome, dude. But like, maybe at the end of the game, they hit 4. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather see that shit. That's a terrible analogy. I just want to see this spread out. I want to see this discussed and broken down, and then let the news try to like, no, that's not real. That's not true. Blah, 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 blah. And then it dies a little bit. Then hit it with 9/11. Then they have to, holy shit, no, that's not true. Like, And then boom, hit them with the aliens, whatever.
No,
I'm just saying.
I see what you're saying, because like these kind of topics deserve the attention. You know what I mean? For a while.
They deserve real looking into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just looking into, but a real understanding.
Yep.
Because this is going to tell us a lot about how our government at least was, and it probably still is. And so again, if they put it all at once, what happens in a week if there's, let's talk about your over the top stuff, right? Like an EMP. Let's talk about a major power outage. All that hard work, all that important information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See you later. All of it gone. People are going to be like, hey, yeah, that's cool, dude, but I have no power.
So that would be the reason not to do it. Yes, that would be, you're right. That would be the reason not to drop it all at once, because they could just do that. EMP, cut the power, whatever.
World War III. I mean, listen, we have things on the table. I think that this deserves to be spread out. I think it needs to be spread out. I'm not saying it has to be a year between each one. Give it out, get it out there. Let people actually have time to read it, understand it, and explain it to people. And then as it's starting to die, you bring in the new one. 9/11. Boom. Now you got 3, 4, 5 weeks of really good coverage where people are like, wow, this is fucking crazy. And the news is gonna, but see, the news will come out with something and then they'll say, oh shit, aliens, holy crap. And then everybody's gonna be like, whoa, fuck the power, aliens, or whatever it is. You get my point. My point is it's gonna be something. We have to be able to combat the fake news. They're gonna be desperate at this point. They are.
Yeah. No, and that's where social media can hurt you and it can harm you, or hurt you and benefit you, because like it's riding the wave. You know what I mean? Like whatever is trending is what people will be making videos on, because they get clicks, they get money. And so if you have this massive, quote, bombshell about 9/11, JFK, J6, and then all of a sudden there's a massive alien sighting, boy, oh boy, they're going to cling to the alien story. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just more entertaining. And that's why, like, some of this stuff, it's not entertaining enough to grab you.
It's not, I don't know if it's the fact that it's not entertaining, man, but is it, listen, JFK's assassination would be amazing to understand just based off of what the government is willing to do, if that's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. Is willing to do to get what they need. And I think that would strike people very weird, but that's also very old. You know what I'm saying? And so to a lot of people, they're just going to say, well, I mean, that was 60 something years ago. Like, I mean, the government's probably not that way anymore. And now you have to prove that they still are. What you need to do.
Look at the people in government who are still around from 60 years ago. You know what I mean?
But I think there's a strategic way to do this, right? So like January 6th, for example, sorry, I'm on the bed and I'm moving all around here, but January 6th is a recent event. Okay. We know that there was inside job, and a lot of people don't believe that there was. They still do not believe that there was actually like government officials in there causing havoc. If you could release January 6th first, okay, get that shit out first. People will say, they'll say, well, so-and-so, Nancy Pelosi got inside job people, and there was government officials, CIA was here, and people are going to go, I don't know, man, CIA, like, why would they do that? Boom, hit him with the fucking JFK. Why would they do that? Well, holy shit, wait, you're saying that they did that for JFK too? There's an inside job. Now it's believable now. January 6th is believable because, holy crap, the assassination was actually an inside job. So why would they not still continue to do that? You know what I'm saying? These things all tie into each other. So you need to like release it in appropriate form. I think starting with the stuff that's more relevant today.
Yeah, the 9/11 stuff, if all the information comes out about the whole 9/11 attacks, I would be very surprised. I don't know if it will, because I think there was foreign interference. There was another country involved with this that I don't think we want to have them besmudged in the news.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And I do want to throw out something just to the conspiracy-minded people. Okay, like, listen, it's fun. I enjoy some of it, not all of it. I enjoy some of it. But I want to be very clear that all this stuff may not be what you think it is, right?
Absolutely.
So a lot of people think all these things have major conspiracy and they're all inside jobs. But it would not shock me if something came out and it's like, okay, that really wasn't that inside of a job. That was actually kind of what they said it was. Doesn't mean that the assassination attempt, like, let's say 9/11 was like, yeah, actually reading all this shit, like, it seems like it was pretty much what we were told. Hypothetical. That doesn't mean that the RFK wasn't an inside job. Doesn't mean that January 6th wasn't. But the idea that they're all, I'm just saying that may not be true either.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I mean, there's, and I mean, Trump might not be this master 5D chess player that everybody's talking about too. So
no.
Just saying, like you said, like Trump's probably not the conspiracy guy. You know what I mean?
No, dude. Listen, I think Trump's a very smart guy. I think he does plan some things. I think he kind of orchestrates certain things to fit the right mold and to kind of sell it to the crowd. He's good at selling. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I don't know that he's really all this shit. And I haven't thought that for a long time, personally. I think he's just a good president. I think he's a guy that gives a shit about America. And I think that's kind of the extent of it. He didn't sound that interested in the JFK assassination, quite honestly, just on Rogan.
Yeah.
He was just like, yeah, I mean, we'll release it. And yeah, people, I mean, we may find out that there was a couple people that work for CIA or some shit that was in part of it. And people are going to go, oh, What do we do about that? What can you do about that?
Well, and you know what I think would be the biggest one to start with right off the bat to get everybody going, whoa, and to slap everybody awake? Epstein, bro. Like
Epstein, yeah.
Throw that out first. Get everybody going like, what the hell are these people doing with children? What is going on? Because that's how you go, whoa, these people are fucking disgusting. And once you get that, then you can hit them with the real shit and be like, well, guess what they've been doing for a while?
Yeah.
Here's your 9/11. Here's your JFK.
I'm with you. I honestly, that's what I was saying earlier. I'm very much on the assassination, the 9/11. That should be the last. That should be the last of it. And that should be the last because I feel like that's what proves that it's not just a new era thing, that this is something that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
The January 6th, the Epstein, Diddy, that would be another one.
Yep.
Why do that first? Because we just had an election. We just had Beyonce. We just had all these celebrities coming out supporting the Democratic Party in hordes, one after another, the Diddy Party, crew. What Trump would be smart to do is to prove that they're all corrupt as fuck. And that way it just kills them off, dude. Like their voice means nothing.
You just laid it out. It's Epstein. Expose who voted for the Democrats, right? Expose the Diddy and Epstein client lists. Mm-hmm. Then you expose the voting system, right? You go, here's who voted for them, and here's what's going on with the voting system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here's who's actually really supposed to win. And then you go down the road of all these other ones, right? And you save whatever for last, right?
Yeah. That just shows the length, because people will say, I think it's going to be like Diddy and Epstein. I think there's way too much evidence. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be very hard to have anybody come out and support them. They're not going to.
Well,
I think.
And that goes back to the whole AI and what is it? Deep fakes, right? Like that whole deep fake movement.
I've never believed in that. I'm just being straight up with you. No, I listen, we've talked about it. I know where you're coming with it. I know where people's thoughts are with it. It's not going to work. It's not going to be the case.
I don't think so
I don't
either.
give a shit how good it is. It's not going to be the case. I don't think you're going to hear anybody say that's a deep fake.
I
just
think
don't
the
think that's
military
the case.
already has come out saying we have programs that can identify true source. You know what I mean? Like this video was not a copy. It was not altered in any way. Like this is a true source video. So,
I think for like the left, like where we're at right now, I think we saw a good kind of swift reaction and with the election, how people kind of shifted to Trump, even people that weren't supposed to. And let's say not even to Trump, just leaving the Democratic Party. How do we've talked in nauseum about the other ones. There's still 70 million or 68 million that voted for Harris.
Yeah.
How do you fix them? That's the wrong word. I don't want to say fix them. How do you explain to them? Yeah. Explain to them and show them that, listen, you're wrong. This is who you're listening to is not giving you good information. A lot of them, unfortunately, give a shit about Beyonce. They give a shit about the culture shit.
Taylor
Swift, all of them. I mean, you name it, right? You name it. If you can prove that Hollywood is as disgusting as we all know it is, that's going to rock them. That's going to rock them harder than even just a politician.
Well, not only that, Dave, but you got to prove that Trump's not a part of that, right? Because there's a section of people that go, well, Trump was on Epstein's plane. There's videos on Trump. You know what I mean? So you got to convince them that there's no videos of Trump either. So,
yeah, I mean, maybe. And I listen. I am, and I think it's pretty obvious that to me that sell is how many times have they gone after Trump? Okay, in the past 8 years, how many times have they gone after Trump? Endlessly. Misinformation, disinformation, so-and-so coming out of the woodworks and saying that he diddled her, all that shit, right? But what they've never shown you was a video of him at Epstein Island. And let's be honest, when they raided Epstein Island, if there was one piece of Trump on that fucking island or one piece of him touching a woman or saying something, even an audio recording, that shit would have been leaked in 5 seconds flat and you would have never heard the end of it. And he would have been so I don't believe at all that there is anything on Trump.
Unless he has it, and I'm just throwing it out there, dude. This is all just like fucking, what ifs, right? What if he's the mob boss, bro? What if he owns all that shit? What if he has all the collections and he goes, you know what? Here, we'll sprinkle a little Beyonce out there. We'll sprinkle a little J-Lo. We'll sprinkle a little who knows who.
Again, the amount of hatred that Trump has, the amount of people, and let's not even say the left. You know what I mean? The left hating him. The amount of people that are independently operating, even this show, Strange Sauna, Stephen Crowder. I mean, just name it. Right, left, right. It doesn't matter. That information can be dug. I mean, you can go back and look at bank records and transactions and who is with who at certain times. No one has come to that conclusion. And that's the only thing I would say is with all this time period in life, all the information that's out there, all the digging that people have been doing over the past couple of years, no one has made that connection. And I don't think you ever will be able to.
Oh, with like Trump being dirty and like that kind of dirty, like Epstein dirty?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so, man.
No, I don't think. I think that there is a viable avenue, and it's interesting when we look towards like Roy Cohn and his involvement with Trump and how he was raised. Trump, I'm talking about, and there is a viable avenue of a possibility that Trump could have blackmail on people, dude. Like he could be the blackmailer. Like he's the one collecting the shit and being like, I saw what you did, because he never drinks, he never smokes, he's never done drugs, right? And he's like, he has all these hotels. He purchased a hotel that was famous for setting people up with like cameras and all this shit. This was like way back in the Roy Cohn days, and I'm watching this documentary called "Where Is My Roy Cohn?" And they actually just came out with a movie about it called The Apprentice, and it's more like fake and fictional. Yeah. I don't want to watch that shit. I want to watch the real deal. So I'm watching this. They haven't even touched on Trump yet. Like I'm halfway through the movie, and it's just about Roy Cohn and how dirty he was. He was a closet homosexual, but he was ruthless, dude. He would just do anything to get a win. You know what I mean? But
yeah, and it's a high chance that Trump. Listen, I don't think Trump. We've joked and talked about Trump being Batman. That whole, and the idea behind that is,
dude, I don't know.
Bruce Wayne
maybe
version. Listen, sure. The theory behind it makes sense, but at the same time, again, does it have to be this grandiose thing? I don't think so. I think what you could see is you have a guy who loves women, loves money, obviously, all that shit. We know that, but who also didn't get intoxicated, didn't smoke and get high and do all this other shit that a lot of billionaires and millionaires do. And who was very famous and attended all of these things, all these different get-togethers.
And think about it, dude, because he had his beauty pageant thing, right?
Yeah.
He had his beauty pageant thing for a long time. And what if he got a lot of stuff on film? Not of like just the girls and being creeper, but what if he got a lot of stuff on dudes that he invited over to parties with his beauty pageant women going, hey, and this is all what ifs, you know what I mean? Because obviously there's no evidence, but I'm just saying.
I just saying, I don't know if he's the guy that has everything locked up in a fucking file cabinet, with video evidence.
That to me would explain why he's not dead. Honestly, it would. That would be a viable answer for why isn't he dead? Because it's like, then you'd have a dead man trigger and all this shit would get released, I mean, that's one way, but listen, I think people underestimate Trump. I honestly do. Listen, there's a lot of stuff, and even like Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan. There's many podcasts that have talked about even that Tyrus guy, whatever his name is. The guy has done a lot of great things, man. I know that he's president, and we talk about some of the negative stuff or possibilities of him being whatever tied with so and so and XYZ. But the man has helped people. He's been courteous and he's got awards for shit. I mean, if you look back at his history, the guy seems like you could think he's an asshole or a douchebag, but he's been a pretty nice guy. He's helped local community shit. He's helped the black community long before that was even a thing, like where people were talking about it. The mob boss came out. You remember that? I can't remember his name, but that mob guy, that hit guy came out. He's a famous dude. He's been on many shows. And he's talked about we could not get to Trump. Yeah.
We can never get to Trump. And listen, I think it's easy to say, well, he has blackmail and that's why. Or Trump has just surrounded himself by a lot of security. He's a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? He's always been a tough guy as far as like He ain't taking bullshit. He kind of sees through people's bullshit. There's a reason that the mob couldn't even get at him. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
see, that didn't
just
really make, because honestly, like that could mean a couple ways. Like get at him, like to influence him, to try to sway him, or like to get at him to like attack him in some way. Like I didn't know what he was trying to say.
Well, so I think they were trying to get money out of him. So if you look at a lot of the mob shit, which I'm not some historian on the mob, but I do love the mob. I do watch a lot of shows about it. I try to I think it's an interesting time period and interesting kind of subculture of America and the world.
Yeah.
They always were looking at ways to make money, to make deals. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we'll get you this. We'll protect you from this. You just pay us this and blah, 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 blah. Now, Trump was a major figure in the New York landscape. I mean, we know this. He helped build the skylines, as they say, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that the mob didn't want a piece of that. You know what I'm saying? However that may be. I'm not saying they want to kill him. I'm saying they wanted a piece of that business, like whether it was helping get some money from him or like, hey, I'll give you some money if you involve us in this deal.
Well,
and
that's what's weird.
like a renegade.
How did the mob not already have that business? And how did Trump get his feet wet in that business? That's where I'm like, how did Trump get his feet into the door of this? And the mob didn't, like,
I don't know.
That's where I'm like, why would the mob want Trump's money? Like Trump should want to work with the mob. It should be the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I
so
don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is that like I just think that he's a lot more self-aware than we want to give him credit for. You know what I'm saying? In order to do what he did in New York City in a time period where it wasn't friendly, like, right, we're talking about the 80s. We're talking about the 90s when New York was slummy as fuck. That was before the cleanup.
Yeah, dude.
This guy was making deals and working shit out with people and probably the mob. I'm sure Trump's worked with the mob to get shit done.
Maybe. We don't know.
I don't. I'm just saying, I feel like they were a significant part in New York City that a lot of people, even the mayors, had to deal with the mob. I'm not saying that to say he's tied to some bullshit. I'm saying that probably was an everyday thing. I just think the guy has elephant skin. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why we've seen him on the campaign. That's why you saw him take these hits and not be even fucking fazed by this shit. That's why Joe Rogan says, how come this fucker didn't age 1 minute when he was in office? He left office looking like when he came. It's because he's been dealing with this shit forever. And I feel like that's not a thing that we give him credit for, to be honest with you.
That's why his ear healed so fast. He has elephant skin, dude.
That's it, dude. That fucker.
Scabbed right up. Fucking popped
right over, dude.
Boom. Healed and done. Yeah,
it ricocheted.
But that's why I like this documentary so far, because it is dealing with the, it went back into the 1920s, the rise of Roy Cohn, and now it's getting into the 1970s, and then the introduction of Donald Trump and how he started out. And I think that's worth looking at, is like, how did Donald Trump start out and get his money? You know what I mean? Like, I know like the main baseline story, but you got to like look at all the stories and how did he come up in the world,
Yeah, I honestly, I am absolutely convinced that it's not going to be anytime soon. I think that the water's too hot, right now. Even after he leaves office, I think it's going to take a long time for you to get a true, accurate depiction of what Trump really was as a person and how he became who he became. Because I feel like everything right now is going to be swayed a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless Trump directly puts it out, but that's going to even be swayed, right? Because Trump's obviously going to prop up his own ego and his own accomplishments. I just think that when people actually look back in 20 years or 30 years from now, I think Trump will have a much kinder light towards him. It's just we're engulfed in this whole shit right now. And I think that's really sad that people don't. I think he's done a lot of good things. And it's sad that people don't know about that side. The fact that he's labeled a racist and a bigot and a sexist, I think is not good.
No, dude, you touched on something that's really important. And that is like how personal biases, political biases can cloud your judgment, right? Like no matter what side you're on. Like if you like somebody, you're less likely to look into them or criticize them or, you know what I mean? And vice versa. If you hate somebody, you're more willing to believe some propaganda that's spread about him,
or just make it up altogether.
Exactly.
If you despise somebody, we've all been guilty of this, man. If you really despise someone, you will just be like, I don't like them. And they're like, why don't you like them? Like, I don't even fucking know. I just fuck them, dude.
Every
You know
one
what I
of
mean?
them.
Like,
All
yeah,
the on the street things like, what do you hate about Trump? He's just a fucking racist, bigot, homophobe. How's he
and to
racist?
your point, if you do like Trump, which I do, I think most of us do, let's be real. If you do like him, when he does something that's maybe not to your liking, you're more willing to go, well, you know, it's just one time, dude. Like, it's not that big of it. And to your point, you've been critical, I think, and I've been critical of Trump, not recently, but I have as well. I think most people have. You need to be able to call him out on his bullshit, and he's gonna have bullshit. Like, he's a human being. He's gonna be full of bullshit, actually.
Yeah.
But we can't also ignore the good things that he does.
Yeah.
Because you have little issues with him. You know what I'm saying?
And so that's what I'm honestly trying to like step back and be like, dude, I want to appreciate the good things that he is going to do, because I feel like he will clean up the border. I feel like prices will go down, and I think that deserves attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to introduce this with or intermingle it with like, well, he did it because he was all dirty and all this. You know, it's like, let's just look at what was presented and we'll go from there, you know?
Yeah, it's just a dangerous line, man. That's where I'm at with it. It's really dangerous to always assume that somebody's bad, because we're all bad.
Yeah,
we're all bad. We're all bad. Like, I mean, I think there's a lot of people on here. We all sin. We all do stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
We all make mistakes when we're younger. We say dumb shit. And Trump is absolutely no different. So I think you just have to really look at, like, to your point, what is this man going to accomplish in the next 4 years? Okay. And does it outweigh the bad things that he probably will do at some point as well? And if you can come out of it saying he's a net positive, then he is a good president. And you got to acknowledge that he's a good president.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because there's people out there going, yeah, he's going to drop prices and gas will be cheaper, but at what cost? And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you think's going to happen?
Listen,
like that kind of
would you agree? I'll end it on this. I know we're wrapping up. So this will be my ending. Would you agree that this man is the most scrutinized person in the entire world right now?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to agree with that.
Okay. So I just want to be very clear. Everything this man does is going to be looked at with a fine tooth comb. Mm-hmm. Everything. There is no way that he's going to just go rogue. He wants to be looked at in good light. And with this many people watching him, he's not going to be able to just go fucking rogue. He's just not going to be able to do it. There's going to be too many people eyeballing it, too many people talking about it. And I think Trump is so egotistical that he wants to, I don't remember who just said it, but he wants to be the greatest president of all time.
Yeah.
And you could say that's a bad thing, but that's not a bad thing. That means that he wants to be up on Mount Rushmore. He wants people to love him, and he wants to do what's best so that he can be up there. And if that's what we need, I don't give a fuck. If you do the right shit, put his face up there. I just want the right shit to happen. You know what I'm saying? Fix the border, fix the economy, end the wars. Let's try to get some peace to the fucking Middle East and peace to Russia and all this other shit. Listen,
here?
if you do that,
let's solve the division in our home country, please.
Dude, there you go. And I think with that shit we talked about earlier, with the 9/11, with the
Epstein
pedophile rings, that shit is going to be what I hope gets us all at least on the same page, man.
I could not agree even more. So,
all right.
Good show, everybody. Thanks for joining the chat. Chris, I hope your mouth heals up. We're going to see that beautiful smile when he comes back. I can't wait. And then, anything else?
Yeah, man.
You guys are awesome. And Dave, you're awesome. Everybody
awesome
out
too,
there,
bud.
we'll see you next Sunday. Or actually, next Sunday, Wednesday.
I'm going to see if I can make it. My brother's leaving Wednesday night. So, like I said, give me a little time, guys. It's been a rough week with visits and stuff, but I will be back ASAP.
It's all good, brother. All right, everybody.
All right, bud.
Peace.
See you later.